a tree with a rope, the beginning. And how the elephant tried to escape and pull out, and he couldn't. Initially, he couldn't. How much he wanted to be free, but it was still tied to the tree, and slowly it gave up trying. And after some days, the Mahoth, the caretaker of the elephant, he cut the rope, but the rope was still around the leg of the elephant. The elephant was again used to being tied to a rope and never tried again, even if he was free. But still, the mindset was built that I am tied to the tree and I cannot go anywhere else. I have to stay here. So that's the whole idea of tying the elephant to the rope. Are we, as an education system, trying to do that? Do our children study a lot, or do they learn a lot? What do they do?
They study a lot.
They study a lot. Thank you for interacting, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, because you have an interaction anywhere, in the park, outside, in the malls. You overhear people. Any student, if they are talking, the parent, in your neighbors, also the community that you're living in, you ask them, okay, where are you these days? I don't see you outside in the park. You're not playing badminton. That's your favorite game. What happened? Ma'am, I have a test. Or auntie, I have a test tomorrow. I have an exam after 3 days. Or I have an assignment to be submitted within, the next 5 days or something. So every time they have a target towards academics. So obviously they are bound to something. But if we include that joy into that learning, the same books can do wonders. How can we bring that joy of books to this? So joyful learning, what does that mean? You had shared in the chat also. Interaction, bringing in excitement in the classroom. So anything else you'd like to share, please keep writing on the chat. So I just love reading the conversation over here, because it needs to be ongoing, and it would be really lovely if you keep writing something over there. So yes, joyful learning, to many people, it could be, it could be anything, right? It could be a class where there is a lot of interaction happening, there is some curiosity happening, or some activities there, or some games based on some concepts. That's also joyful. Anything else you have in mind, please feel free to share. So let's understand the learning ladder. So I developed, I thought of this learning ladder when I was preparing for the webinar. I said, okay, which ladder would the child choose? Now the child is here. There are two ladders in front of the child. Which one the child will use according to you? Which which one they will choose? This ladder, the blue one with the blue rungs, or this one with the black one?
Second one.
The second one, this one?
Yes, the black one.
The black one.
Okay. The second one. All right. So let's see.
Small steps, ma'am.
So yeah, that's also a perception that, okay, and there are many parents and many educators who would want the children to take up this ladder, which is the second one, which is the black one. Now, all right, the child will climb up to this ladder. Fine. The first step is easy. The second step is easy. The third is, can you see the gap over here? And this one is a bit slant, and then there is a huge gap. So what do you think? The child will take up the challenge or just give up? If he chooses the black, he'll take up the challenge?
Not all, everyone and always.
Yes, sometimes.
That's true. Sometimes, yes. We have children who will choose this ladder or this ladder. So there is nothing in this slide that the child will choose this or this. So this was just an interactive slide where the child is just deciding on. And we have to actually bring both these ladders, the learning ladders, to our classrooms, both of them. Maybe 1 year you have a classroom where, if there are 40 children, maybe 35 children can climb this ladder, but 5 still need this one. And another year you will have 35 children want to climb this one, and the rest 5. So that differentiation we need to understand and bring in that learning ladder into our classroom so that the joy of learning stays. So why is there a need to study less and learn more? In our classrooms, in the entire system, our focus as educators is helping the children to read, to comprehend, to understand basic number skills. But life is much beyond that. Are we doing anything for the beyond part of basic literacy, numeracy? And then what? What about the life skills? It's very easy. I was watching a conversation on one of the channels today, and there they said that it's very easy to teach them literacy, numeracy, but equally difficult to teach them the life skills. Soft skills, as they're called, they are not soft skills. They are really, really hard skills to be taught. So are we prepared to take up those skills in our classrooms? Some questions for joyful classrooms. Are the outcomes being achieved? How does joyful learning look like? What is the mindset of the parents, management, educators? Are children engaged in activities that are purpose-driven? And can we bring joy of learning in big groups? What are the challenges? Space, sometimes, yes, we need space. There is furniture, there are materials to be moved. If we have to do any kind of activity which is other than reading or writing or some kind of focused work. Infrastructure. This is again an issue, but infrastructure, we needn't look at the money part of it, but even used paper can be a great resource. Used anything, any material which can be reused in your classroom can become a good infrastructure, a good part of your classroom. Number, the ratio of the teacher and student. This is huge. always, and it's a block. Sometimes it can create a lot of confusion in the classroom because it is difficult to manage children there in that space with that number, with one teacher doing everything. And if you can bring that joy into the classroom with the number, that means you are doing amazing stuff in your classroom. The syllabus and the curriculum. After reading and comprehension and the basic numerical skills, grade 4 and 5, they go into sometimes, simple interest and profit and loss and topics like that. Whereas there'll be, again, there is huge gap between the children, among the children in the same class. Maybe some children are still struggling with multiplication and division. And this kind of gap in the classroom, it affects in the senior school. It doesn't show when they are in the juniors, but if their foundation is not strong, then they have huge difficulty as they go into higher classes. So if their basic skills of numbers, reading comprehension are strong, and without going into the details of other topics which can be taken in the next class, if we focus on the life skills, I think they'll be better off that time. So I have a lot of people saying identifying the areas of interest of the students. Yes, that's paramount. That's really vital. Learning becomes easy, long lasting. Yes. So many people have let me read. So such wonderful comments are coming in. Apply the knowledge, large size of the class. True. I agree. So I feel that, and in the foundation stage, the primary stage, the teacher and the management has some kind of autonomy of syllabus and curriculum. You need to decide how much is too much or how much is too little or too less, and then go accordingly. Time. How much time? Yes, time. The moment whenever you have an activity, you need time. You need to have time for conducting that activity, for planning that activity. Where will you find that time? That is a huge challenge. Flexibility and adaptability. Flexibility, adaptability of the parents, flexibility of the school schedules, and flexibility, I would say that sometimes the management or, I've been very lucky to be teaching in schools where there was complete freedom to teachers in the classroom, complete freedom. But I have heard where schools, if the class is making too much noise, that means the teacher is not teaching. Or if the teacher is maybe sitting with a child, talking to the child, the teacher is just not teaching, not hardworking. Those kind of comments can really bring down the morale of the teacher. So managements and people in higher position need to trust the teacher in the classroom, that whatever they're doing is for the benefit of the students, the well-being of the students. That trust factor has to be there. Adaptability by the parents also. Parents have to adapt to certain kind of activities that are done in school. Children coming from different background, we need to keep that in mind too. some might not understand one particular language. So speaking bilingual could help. Understanding their culture, their language, from where they're coming, that would help in the classroom. Shared responsibility. Now, this is like if a teacher is doing, especially in the primary classes, everything is put on the class teacher. So if there is a shared responsibility among the co-workers, the subject teachers, the activity teachers, or anyone who could help, then that activity is done in the best possible way, rather than one person doing it alone, slogging it out. The outcome, the focus is the outcome, how much the children are benefiting from it. So shared responsibility would definitely help. Class management. Now, the class management is all about organizational part, then the behavioral aspect is there. And how much of class management do we know to conduct that activity? Are we equipped with the various aspects of class management, that, okay, if I do this activity, this is going to happen, there'll be some behavioral issues, there'll be some noise over here, and I need to shift this, that. So all that we need to keep in mind. Otherwise, it becomes a huge challenge. What are the benefits of conducting activities or joyful learning? Amazing benefits. There is freedom in the class. They are freedom to express, freedom to do things which they otherwise hold themselves back from. So immense freedom is given in a joyful setup. Creativity, yes, again, it's an expression. They'll ask questions, any type of questions, and they need to be encouraged for that curiosity, to ask more questions and interact. Then it develops inter and intrapersonal skills, because it is through these activities that they collaborate, they listen to each other, they learn from each other better than they learn from the educator or the facilitator in the class. And they develop their own personal skills. So unlimited learning level can happen. Building empathy, kindness, and gratitude through these activities. Building rapport and community. Now, joyful learning doesn't happen without a good relationship between the educator and the students. The students, children, we need to learn from the children how to forgive, how to love, how to laugh, and how to be curious about everything and anything. They're so amazed with life. So if they're so amazed with life, join in their that energy. So building a rapport with them is excellent, and that will help building the communities who will also like to be a part of joyful learning. So yes, shoulder relaxation, this was like, if there is joyful learning happening, there'll be less of books, and the bags will be lighter, there'll be more joy.
Yes, son, IP.
So listening, learning, reading, and writing activities get activated. It's not that joyful learning doesn't mean that
Yes, sir.
children are not learning. The focus is learning, yes. And it can go to any level. They are not being tested on it, but they are being involved, engaged, and inspired to do all these things, to listen, to learn, to read, and to write. So there is immense focus on life skills through joyful learning. So these are the skills that come into the classroom if we include joyful learning. Nikita, could you please mute yourself? How can the planning be done for a better outcome? Does the thought drive you up the wall? Will a plan help? Yes, it will definitely help, because without the plan, it doesn't work at all. At all. You know, you feel that, yes, it's there. I know what to do. I'm doing this for 20 years. I'm doing it for 30 years. I'm doing it for, decades now. But still, I have children coming to me. I still need the plan. Minute to minute, I need the plan for the children. Okay, this, and this. They'll do this. And then 2-3 things extra also I keep, just in case they're not interested, or just in case there's some last minute confusion. 3 activities I keep ready. In a classroom of 40 children, 50 children, there'll be like so many complaints. And if you have the plan in your mind, it goes for a toss, because you're dealing with those behavioral issues also. And then suddenly you feel, okay, what was I thinking? What was I supposed to do after this, after that? So to avoid all that, have the blueprint ready. So fundamentals of planning beyond textbooks to make learning more joyful. So marking the calendar, finding out the weather, the festivals, the school functions, marking it, and then deciding on when you want to conduct a particular activity. It can be embedded into your daily routine also, but daily routine, if you are adding those stories, you are adding those recitation, the poems and everything, a joyful learning where life skills are the focus, we need at least 2 hours in the classroom with the teacher. At least 2 hours. So we can decide according to the calendar and then go on. Or simply plan for the second half of the day. Second half of the day is the most challenging with the primary children. They come to the school, they're really happy, or they get settled, they need that settling time. They're focused in the beginning. After they are full, their stomachs are full, all they want to do is go home. What do you do that time? Go for free play, do this, do that. That is the time for the joyful learning to take place. And it has huge benefits that time, because they're off now, mentally off. So to bring back the focus, to bring back the concentration, to bring back the excitement into the classroom, you got to do something which engages them fully. And know your class. What are their learning levels, their pace, their understanding? Identify your class, speak to the previous teacher. Sometimes that also helps. What the interests are. If the class is shuffled, then you can go through the anecdotal records if you want, and that will help you plan better. Approaches and pedagogies that you need to take care of if you have decided on any kind of a lesson plan or anything. The topics. See, the topics, there are some topics given in the textbooks, right? So that you do. But life itself is a huge topic. And children come with a sense of self, great sense of self. They're really confident. They know so many things. So they will give you the topics. You don't even have to hunt for the topics. They will give you the topics, and you will come to know of the topics from them. And of course, some initially, the initial part of the year, you decide for, as you reach the mid session, take the topics from them. Initially, you can have those topics. So there's no dearth of any topic out there. Personal resources, identify them. Okay, we have how many minutes now? 1 minute. We'll go to the second meeting, and the meeting will begin after 5 minutes. So I'll see you after 5 minutes. Please do come back. Okay, so the personal resources, what personal resources you have, make a list of that. Games, activities, songs. There'll be so many. Each one of us is unique, and each one of us need to identify our own strengths. What is our strength, or what are our strengths? Is it music? Is it dance? Is it stories? Is it poem? What is it? We need to identify that, list it out. If you don't list it out, you will never know your strength. It has to be there somewhere on paper. Have it on black and white. And resources can be your even parents, the children's parents, the grandparents. You can invite them. They are adept in so many things. They'll come up with so many things. They have, if they have the time, you can invite them for your children. So how does the blueprint for the day look like? Obviously, you need to have a blueprint. You need to have a lesson plan. So physical exercises, conversation, music, as Jaya ma'am said, that, you know, those mapping skills and those learning skills have really helped children to learn the maps, the history, the loads of content in history. That helps. Include that, introduce that in your classroom, even in the primary section. So how does a lesson plan of a joyful learning look like? Now, this is an interesting part. The lesson plan. You know, as teachers, I remember the day we had to submit, I would just, sometimes I would get nightmares, sometimes, you know, I've not submitted the lesson plan. When will I do that? And this and that. And there's so much of collaboration happening among the teachers about the lesson plan. Right? So what does a lesson plan of joyful learning look like? Oh my God, does this look like a joyful lesson plan? Please write in the chat. I should know your views on this. Yes, so not at all. Yeah, right. It's too complicated. But sometimes, yes, we need this kind of blueprint also. But let's make things easy for us. Okay, this lesson plan looks as if, you know, it's one thing will lead to the other, but to me, it's still complicated. Let me make it more easier for you by introducing the wheel of joy, a personal planning picture in your mind. So let's get ready for this. This is my favorite. Now, here it is. This is the wheel of joy. And this is the clock, you can say. It could be 1 hour clock, 2 hour clock, 3 hour clock. That is up to you, the whole day clock. Just decide according to this wheel of joy. What are these are the time gaps, the red arrow, the orange arrow over here, the blue one, green one. Now let's see what happens here. Now this is the settling time. Children need settling time. So they need maybe 5-10 minutes to settle down. The second one, the red arrow, is whether you have decided on a high energy activity or a calming activity. Again, the time limit decided by you. And this longest one, the blue one, that down over here, taking most of the time of the activity of the joyful part, is what I call as straightening the tail activity for the little genies. Remember Aladdin and the magic lamp? Aladdin got frustrated every time genie is asking, and he did not know what to give him, what kind of work to give him. Now these little geniuses in our class, they are actually genies. And I used to think, what should I give them so that they get occupied, concentrate on some kind of activity for at least half an hour or 1 hour, independently or collaboration or through collaboration. So that is straightening the tail activity for the little genies. Like Aladdin said that, to the genie, go and straighten the tail of the puppy. The puppy's tail was round, and every time genie would stretch it, it would go up again. So this is just for them to concentrate on that activity that they are doing, engaging fully body, mind, and soul. That's all that you need to decide on this, straightening the tail for the little genies. And the last one is winding up and taking feedback from the children. Sometimes it's better to even ask them how much they liked the activity, what changes can we bring. No, the student voice has to be there in the planning. We think that they are young, what will they know? Every time we have to guide them, they are small. No, they're not. They are more mindful. 5-year-old, you ask a 5-year-old about the world, about life skills, or about what they love, the answers that they give are, you'll be swept off the floor. That's it. They give amazing answers. Or you can change the timing. Maybe the activity is a little bit shorter, or maybe the settling time takes a little more longer time because you're introducing them to the activity. You'll have to tell them what you expect and how you're going to go about the activity. And this one, maybe after that, you have a calming activity, a meditation exercise, or some kind of listening is going to happen. And again, the straightening the tail activity for the little genie, and the winding up and feedback. So this is a very simple planning that you need to have in your mind, and just put it on picture and draw it and have it in place. That's it. You don't need long lesson plans. Lesson plans you can do after the class, you've taken the class, and you can write the feedback of the class. But have this wheel of joy as part of your plan, and you'll see wonders happening in your class. So this was an activity done by me. I introduced them to the chessboard, 5-6-year-olds, and I did not expect that they would be so interested that every time they would ask me that they want to play chess. I was really surprised that 5 or 6-year-old will be interested, because they're interested in puppets and balls and playing games. But this was least expected, least. And every time they would come, they want to play chess. And I took at least 3 sessions of this, 3 sessions of chess itself, introducing them. Then we went on to can you see me?
Yes.
So the origami, of folding the paper, making their own chessboard, and then they critically analyzed, appreciated each other's work. They understood the difference between squares and rectangles. And the same game can go up to all levels. And as you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, A, B, C, D, E, F, it's amazing for even grade 4 and 5 to understand graph later on, not now. So everyone point the finger to B4 square. So they immediately know B4. They look for B, and then what is graph all about? Graph is all about this. Even Excel can be understood through this. So there are so many things, so many concepts through one single game that can be introduced in the classroom. They can have a conversation around attacking and having war, or I mean, the learning that can take place is amazing through a simple chess board. And the same can go on with Ludo, and there's so many other games. Taboo, that is again for word building. These are amazing games that can be brought to the classroom. Reading activities, there are amazing benefits of reading activities. Crossword, Scrabble, yes, crossword, Scrabble are also, Jaya ma'am, thank you, can be included in the, through crossword, Scrabble, since you brought in the topic of Scrabble, we as children, I remember we used to calculate the, the reading, the vocabulary is happening, reading is happening, mathematic number skills, automatically we knew how to add, subtract and everything. We had our own lists prepared. Raja, Mantri, Chor, Sipahi. Oh my God. The 3-digit numbers. Immediately we used to calculate. 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Where have all the games gone? And now we're here, reading skills. Now, most of the activities that you will find is based on recognition of words, hunting the words. But reading activities are also can be included to generate interest of reading books, in proper books that can be introduced in the classroom. Storybooks, talking about the story elements, that is the location, the settings, the plot. Of course, we needn't use those magnified words, but we can talk about the character. We can talk about an open-ended story. What could have happened? What could have happened? What if questions to the character, and lead them to think of their own story or of their own character. Maybe they want another type of character development is happening. We needn't use those big words, but yes, we can lead them to think that way, because ultimately they have to. I remember when I gave them one of the reading activities, and the child chose the book, and he came up and said, I don't like this book. I said, okay, let's discuss now why you did not like. Now that is also a kind of a book review that he was giving, but not knowing that it is a book review. And he wrote it also, that why he did not like a particular book. And you get into their mind, their thinking, their perception through this. A lot of listening activities can be conducted in the class through asking questions to the children. And they listen to each other. They are so used to listening to the class teacher, to the teacher over there in front of them. But you just need to turn the chair. They have a conversation with each other. Most of the time, what happens, they're doing something and suddenly someone will say, ma'am, my tooth fell. Okay, what do I do? I just tell everyone, just close your book for 5 minutes. Let's find out how his tooth fell. And this I had actually in the class, and there was they just turned towards each other. Acha, so then what about Tooth Fairy? Tooth Fairy came. Oh, you believe in Tooth Fairy? And they had a conversation. I was then like, I was out of the conversation. They were talking to each other. So listening skill is all about this. And of course, there are so many activities, other activities that can be included. And we need to understand what active listening is, what passive listening is, how to involve children into listening, to looking into the eye of the other person and talking, because this is what is missing from our lives. The gadget has actually replaced the real time listening in our lives, from our lives. I mean, it's just replaced it, and we have to bring it back to our conversations to make it more authentic, more genuine, build relationships and stronger bonds. So, yes, depending on your interest, if you would be interested, I would further develop a pro-primary teacher module for all of you. And this would be including everything that I have learned and experienced and tried in my classes. So if you think it's going to help you, please do come on board. It will include joyful learning, creative thinking, integrated learning, pro-life skills, and socio-emotional well-being, recognition of letters, and comprehending, language development, reading, speed and interest. All these things can be included in the primary level also. So creative writing, memory enhancement, learning techniques, communication skills, basic PPT, which is technology, podcast skills, or reels, developing reels, can also be introduced, will be introduced here. So joyful learning is paramount to education. We cannot think beyond this. We have to have a space of joy in our classroom for learning to happen, real-time learning. So thank you so much for coming in.